More about TPN SalesPack, specifically the offer to purchase. Peter, let's chat a little bit about a suspensive condition. What is a suspensive condition to a contract?
It's actually a great starting off point when you're dealing with OTPs. And the reason why I say that is obviously we've got these general terms and conditions and rights and responsibilities of the parties. So one party's got to do this, the other one's got to do that. A suspensive condition is absolutely vital. And the reason for that is because it creates or suspends, rather, the contract coming into force, coming into efficacy, coming into validity, whatever you want to call it, up to the point in time that that condition is actually met. So usually what happens with a suspensive condition is you need to meet a certain condition within a very limited time period.
So Peter, in terms of the TPN OTP, we've created two suspensive conditions. The first is that the purchaser needs to obtain a bond or a mortgage. And the second one is in the event that the purchaser needs to find a seller for his existing property that he's looking to sell in order to be able to afford the new property that he's making the offer to now.
That's 100% correct, Michelle. Now, obviously, this can be included and excluded in terms of the contract. So obviously, if you don't have suspensive conditions attached to the sale, you can mark them as not applicable. But let's say, for example, let's use the instance of the bond. And if a bond is necessary to purchase the property, so the purchaser is not just purchasing it cash. In terms of the TPN OTP, currently we can create a suspensive condition by doing that. You input the purchase price, obviously, of the property, the deposit that's paid. Let's say the purchase price is 800,000 Rand. I'm an attorney, I'm not an accountant, so I might get this wrong. You're going to have to help me. So let's say the purchase price is 800,000 Rand. The deposit is 100,000 Rand. You include that. And obviously the balance that must be secured by a mortgage loan is going to be 700,000 Rand. Then underneath that, you include a date where the mortgage bond must actually be concluded by, when it must be granted by. And if that mortgage bond is not granted within that time period, the contract is deemed to be void. So there's no more a contract between the seller and the purchaser.
And is the purchaser liable for anything at that point, should he not be able to secure a bond?
No, Michelle. If he's obviously done his best endeavors and he's gone to the bank and tried to secure lending and he couldn't secure it for that specific price and that suspensive condition lapses, the contract is void between the parties. So there's no responsibility on him to, say, for example, purchase the property for a specified price, but there's also no responsibility on the seller to sell the property back to the purchaser.
Okay, perfect. And what about the second suspensive condition? And that's in the event that the purchaser needs to sell an existing property.
100% correct. So say, for example, he's got a property he's currently staying in that he needs to sell to secure the purchase price or the cash purchase price that he wants to purchase the new property for. For that, you're going to include the description of the property to be sold, so the property that he's currently busy staying in, the purchase price of that property, and when that purchase price must be paid by the other purchaser of the property. So that property must actually be sold in terms of that OTP prior to this contract, this OTP coming into existence and being valid between the two parties.
So the most important thing that we're learning here today, Peter, is that we must enter the suspensive conditions into the offer to purchase, and importantly, we must include a date by which time those suspensive conditions must be met. Failing that, if they're not met, the offer to purchase then just falls away.
That's exactly that.